Channel. Today we're going to be completing the 2017 CXC Mathematics Multiple Choice paper. And without further ado, we get right into it. Alright, now in the first video, which is in part 1, we did question 1 to 30. Now in our second part, we're going to do question 31 to 60. And we start with 31. Now it says 2 to the 6 divided by 2 to the 2. Now this is by laws of indices that says if you divide two things that have the same base, you keep the base and you subtract the powers. So this becomes the base is 2, the powers are 6 and 2, so it's going to become 2 raised to 6 minus 2, which is going to give me 2 to the 4th power. That makes the answer option B, as in boy. Let's take this down now. 32. 2 tons, 54 kilograms is the same as. Now guess what now? Now 1 ton, so let me say 1 ton is equal to 1,000 kilograms. So if I have 2 tons, I'm going to have 2,000 kilograms. Alright? Now we have 54 kilograms added to that, so it becomes 2,054 kilograms. So what should I remember? That 1,000 kilograms give me 1 ton. That makes it option C, as in cat. Alright, let's take this down to 33. It says item 33 refers to the following circle with center at O, and you can see the center right here. It says the circumference of the circle is 15 centimeter. Then the length of the minor arc AB in centimeter is. Alright, so we have the circumference. Now, what we want to find is the length of the minor arc. Now, of course, if we're going to find the arc, remember now that the length of the arc is a fraction. So this arc here is a fraction of the circumference. We have the circumference. Now what fraction of the circumference it is dependent on the angle right here. 1 revolution is equal to 360 degrees, and that's the maximum you can get out of a circle. So to find a fraction, I'm going to have 120 over 360 degrees multiplied by the complete length of the circumference, which is 15. Alright, now that is what should give me. Now it doesn't require you to work it out, it simply requires you to choose an answer, and that makes it option B, as in boy. And it is very important that they said the minor arc. If they said the major arc, would have to go the opposite way, which is all the way around here, which means we would have to subtract 120 from 360 in order to get the major arc. But we are interested in the minor arc, so it's just the 120 degree, which is the angle that tells us how much of a circumference this arc is. So it's 120 over 360 multiplied by 15, which is the length of the circumference. Alright, let's take this down. Alright, it says item 34 refers to the following diagram, which shows a cylinder with a diameter of 6 centimeter and a height of 20 centimeters. The volume in cubic centimeter of the cylinder is, alright, so for the volume of a cylinder is like a prism. So if you find the area of the cross section, you simply multiply it by the height or by the distance between the two faces. Now of course the cross section is a circle, which makes it pi r squared. Now the distance between these two circular faces is 20, which we can call the height. Now notice their answers is in terms of pi, so pi will go back. Alright, that doesn't change. Radius squared. What they gave you is a diameter. To get the radius, we have to find a half of the diameter. And a half of 6 is 3. So you're going to have 3 squared. And of course the height is 20. Now we know 3 squared to be 9. So it's 9 times 20. Now how do I do this? Now when it comes down to 0 and multiplying, that is easy. 9 times 0, 0 comes back. The 9 2's 18. And of course the pi we put at the front. So it becomes 180 pi, which makes it answer A, as in apple. Alright, let's take this back up to question 35. Alright, good. Item 35 refers to the following diagram not drawn to scale, which shows a sector of a circle with center O. So here we have it. We have an angle here, which is 60 degrees. It says in the diagram, the length of the minor arc PQ is 8 centimeters. It's always good to put on information on your diagram. What is the circumference of a circle in centimeter? Now, this is beautiful. Alright, good. Now, bear in mind that the circle measures in terms of angle 360 degrees. This is just a fraction of that 360. Also, 8 centimeter is a fraction of the circumference. Now here's how we make it easy. If we can find out how many 60 degrees there is in 360 degrees, we can find out how many 8 centimeter arc there would be if I were to separate the entire circle into a number of arcs. Because bear in mind that this 60 degrees represent 8 centimeter in terms of the arc length. If I add a next 60 degrees, I'm going to have a next 8 centimeter, and I keep going and going and going until I get the complete circle. So my question is, how many 60 degrees do I have in a complete circle? It would be 360 divided by 60. All right, you know, work the magic there. 6 into 6, 1, 6. So you have 6 of these, which means that you'd have 6 arcs. If we were to cut it into angles of 60 degrees, 6 arcs of length 8 centimeter. Which means I simply multiply 6 by 8 to get the complete circumference, which is when if I add all of those 6 arcs together. Now, as we know, 6 times 8 gives me 48. So it's going to be 48 centimeters. And there you have it. Let's take this down some more now. All right, we're at question 36. Now, question 36 says, 50 guests each had 2 glasses of champagne. Each glass held 150 milliliters. How many liters of champagne were used? Now, there are several ways to do this. Let's work out how many glasses we had in total. So you had 50 guests and each had 2 glasses. So you have 50 times 2. So 100 glasses of champagne were had. Now each glass contains 150 milliliters. So in total, if there's 100 glasses, and the total amount of champagne would be 100 times 150, which is going to be 15,000. I almost said 1,500. It's 15,000. Now, guess what is important now? How many milliliters make a liter? Milli suggests 1,000, and liter is the base unit. Alright, so 1,000 milliliter makes 1 liter, and that's a clue. If we know what the prefix means, it helps us better. So if I'm going to go, and of course this is milliliter. Now if I'm going to go from milliliter back to liter, which is a larger unit, I'm going to have to divide this by 1,000. Alright, and you can work the zeros. That takes that out, that takes that out, that takes that out, which leaves you with 15, making the answer C as in cat. Question 37. Right, we're almost there. The area of a triangle is 60 square centimeter, and its base is 12 centimeter. What is the perpendicular height in centimeter? No, it could be any kind of triangle. It could be a right angle triangle. What is sure is the concept will never change, where you must have the perpendicular height. So let us assume that it's a triangle looking like this, where the base is 12. The area, of course, this is the height. All right. Now for any triangle, we must have the perpendicular height to find it, as long as we're not using the angle. So area is equal to half times base times height. We know the area, so we put that in 60. All right, equal to a half times the base, which is 12, times the height, which we don't know. We put by the h. All right, and that is what they want us to find, the perpendicular height. Now 60 equal a half of 12 is going to give me 6. So we have 6h. Now how do I get h? It's like solving an equation. We need to get rid of the 6. So we divide both sides by 6. So the height becomes 10. So the height is 10 centimeters. Alright, always remember your unit, especially in paper 2. Alright, let's take this down some more. Question 38. The perimeter of a square is 52 centimeter. What is the area in square centimeter? Alright, what do we know about a square? We know that for a square, all the sides are equal. So these 4 sides, now remember, all of these, so length, 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 length. All 4 sides are equal. So it's just like saying 4 length is equal to 52. And remember, to find the perimeter, you add the sides around. But since all the sides are the same, we just say 4 times the length. And we divide both sides by 4. Now 4 into 52 goes 13 times. So the area of a square, of course, is length times length, or length square. So length times length, which would be 13 times 13, which turns out to be 169. So my answer is C, as in 169. Now, There are several ways we could have done this. Of course, we do expect it to be a square number because you're multiplying the length by itself. So sometimes there are different ways to approach a question, alright? Alright, 39. The circumference of a circle is 132 centimeters. Given that pi is equal to 22 over 7, the radius of the circle is. Alright, so we have the circumference. Now we know that the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. So the circumference is 132 is equal to 2 times pi. They say use pi as 22 over 7. 22 over 7 times r, which is the radius. Alright, so we have 132 is equal to, here we can go 2 times 22, because if you want to put that over 1, numerator times numerator, 44 over 7 times the radius. So I need to get rid of this value right here so I can get the radius by itself. Now what can I do? Since I'm dividing by 7, which is creating a problem, I can multiply both sides by 7. So I have 7 times 132 equal 44r. Of course, r by itself, 44 is multiplying that, so I'm going to divide both sides by 44. Alright, now what's the quickest way to deal with this? Alright, let's see. 7 can't go into 44, of course. But of course, you can break the thing down to make it more comfortable for you. So, what if I want to say then, let's use a common factor, like 4. 4 into 44 is 11. 4 into 132, 4 into 13 is 3. And of course, you'd carry the 1, which would be left, because 4 3 is 12. 4 into 12 is 3, so you have 33. You see how easy it is now? Because I know that 3 times 11 is 33. So 11 into 11 goes 1 time. 11 into 33 goes 3 times. 3 times 7 gives me 21. So the radius is 21. Alright, so you don't have to complicate the question. Just take your time and break it down, and then you'll be good to go. Alright, let's go again. Item 40 refers to the following pie chart, which shows the popular games played by 720 students. Remember that part, very important part. How many students play cricket? Alright, now this is based on percentages. Now percentage means per 100, so I need to find out how much percent this is in total. So I have 30 plus 10 plus 25. 30 plus 10 is 40. 40 plus 25, 40 plus 20, 60 plus 5, 65. Yeah, take your time. So you're going to have 100 minus 65. Now 100 minus 65 is going to leave you with 35%. That's 35% for cricket. Now remember, you have 720 persons overall. Alright, so it's going to be 35 percentages per 100. So it's 35 over 100 multiplied by 720. Of course, you're going to make the reductions count. So 0 takes out 0. And we keep going like that. Alright, so we cancel the 0. Of course, we know that because we have 35 and we have 10, we know for sure that 5 can be used. So 5 into 35 goes 7. 5 into 10 goes 2. Now here you have an even number, 72, and you're going to have to divide that by 2. 2 into 2 goes 1. If you can't even do it one time, 2 into 7 goes 3. Carry the 1. 2 into 12 goes 6. 36. So this actually becomes 7 multiplied by 36. Once again, we can do our trick. We go 7 times 6 gives me 42. I put the 2 and I carry the 4. 3 7s 21 plus 4 25. So that becomes 252 persons who play cricket. So there are a lot of techniques that you can actually use. Question 41. It says the median of the numbers 1, 3, 4, 5, 5, 9, 9. And here's the beauty of it. They're in order for you already. So I just need to count the number of numbers. Because remember that the median is a number in the middle when they are arranged in either ascending or descending order. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers. Let's make sure that that is correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now because it's an even amount of numbers, there are 2 numbers in the middle. The number since it's 10 numbers, the number in the 5th position and the number in the 6th position. So that's how you find the 2 numbers in the middle. You half the amount of numbers that you have, and then when you half it, you get 5. So fifth position, and the number that comes after, which is the sixth position, are in the middle. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it means that 5 and 9 are in the middle. Alright, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 on either side. Now because two numbers are in the middle, to get the median, we add both of them and we divide it by 2. So it will be 9 plus 5 over 2. 9 plus 5 is 14 over 2, which is going to give me 7. So that makes it B as in boy. And we move down to question 42. Question 42 says if the mean of four numbers 4x, 8x, and 12 is 10, then x is... Oh, this becomes an equation. So that's why you have to learn to solve the equation. How do we get the mean? We add all the numbers and divide it by the amount of them. So 4 plus 8 plus x plus 12. How many numbers is that? 4 equal to 10. And we simply simplify this, right? So you're going to have 12 plus 8 is 20 plus 4, 24. What I did is to add larger numbers first. So I'm going to have 24 plus x. 24 plus x over 4 equal 10. My job is to find x, so I'm going to have to get rid of everything else. What do I get rid of first? It must be the 4, because everything is being divided by 4. So we multiply both sides by 4. So I'm going to have 24 plus x equal to 40. I'm all over the place, alright? So now I need to get rid of the 24. It's positive, so it becomes, I take it over and I subtract it from 40. Now, what do I get when I go 24 minus 40? Well, 40 minus 24, sorry. That's going to give me 16. So the answer is D as in dog. Alright, not bad so far. 43. It says, when 3 coins are tossed simultaneously, the possible outcomes are, alright, simultaneously, one followed by the other one, or we can always do 3 of them one time. It turns out to give you the same result, where H represents a head and T represents a tail. What is the probability of randomly obtaining at least 2 heads when the coins are tossed simultaneously? At least 2 heads means it can be 2 or more heads. So it can be 3 heads, but it must be 2 or more. So here's one option. You have 8 possible outcomes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 possible outcomes. So it's going to be out of 8. Now let's find how many options have at least 2 heads, which means 2 or more. This is 3 heads, so this counts. So that's 1. 2 head, that's 2 here. 2 head again, 3. Do I have a next 2 head? 2 head again, 4. So that's 4 options where I get at least 2 head, which means 2 or more. So that's 4 out of 8, which reduces to a half. Alright, now please remember what at least means. At least 2, 2 or more. Alright, item 44 refers to the following table, which shows the frequency of scores obtained by students in a test. The modal score. The mode is the number that appears the most. How do I know that the mode appears the most? I have to look at the frequency. Now, where do I find the frequency? The frequency is the same as the number of students. Why? Because it tells you how many students got the same grade. So this is saying 12 persons got 2. Alright? 11 persons got 3. So there are going to be 12 times that you see 2, 11 times that you see 3, 6 times that you see 5, 3 times that you see 6, 8 times that you see 8, and 2 times that you see 11. Which number are you going to see the most? That score must be 2, because you see 2 12 times. That is how many students will have gotten 2, which makes 2 the modal score. So we have to be very careful that we don't choose the frequency when finding the modal score. Alright, so that's A as in apple. Let's take this down to question 45. It says, each of the letters of the word chance, C-H-A-N-C-E, is written on a slip of paper, similar in size and shape. And of course, that is to avoid bias. So if you choose a random paper, you're not going to be biased towards a particular one. The slips of paper are placed in a bag and thoroughly shaken. What is the probability of randomly selecting a C? So you need to find how many C's you have. You have 2 C's. And how many letters you have in all. You can select any one of these letters from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 choices, which makes it total 6. Which of course has a fraction that can go further. 2 into 2, 1, 2 into 6, 3. So it makes it 1/3 as my option, right? So when dealing with probability, you need to find out the total number of possible outcomes and the event that you're interested in, which is the number of C's. So it's 2 out of 6 possible outcomes. Alright, question 46. Which of the following line graph represents greater than? Now, once you see greater than, you read this from the middle. So x is greater than or equal to -2, less than or equal to 4. What is the clue here? Whenever you have greater than with an equal or less than with an equal sign, you have to shade the circle. So I don't even have to guess what my answer is going to be. Because the equal sign is on both sides, that means both circles must be shaded. So without even looking much, it has to be option B. That's the only one that has both circles shaded, and the circles are shaded because of the equal part on both cases. If it was greater than alone, both circles would be open. So the greater than or equal to and the less than or equal to means that you have to shade both circles. And when written like this, you read it from the middle. X is greater than or equal to -2, but is less than or equal to 4. Alright, let's go. Question 47. Alright, which of the following diagram best illustrates a function? A function, of course, is a one-to-one or many-to-one mapping. Alright, so I first look if I see any one-to-one. One-to-one means that one option of the domain maps onto one option of the codomain. And of course, look at where the arrows are going. If you see the arrows here, notice it's going from the right to the left, which means whatever is on the right is your domain. Now, once you say one-to-one, one element maps onto only one element. Alright, we don't even have to look at options because we have a one-to-one. So that would make it option D as in dog. A many-to-one option is also a function. Alright, which means that more than one element in your codomain, goes to one element in your domain. I just said it backwards. More than one element in your domain goes to one element in your codomain. So we call it a many-to-one. Alright, many going to one thing. Alright. 48. The equation of a line which passes through points 0, 2 and has gradient of 1/3. So first of all, you're going to start out with the equation of a line. Y equal mx plus c. Now, of course, y and x are the variables, those remain unchanged. M and c represents the gradient. So m is your gradient and c is your y-intercept. Now you have your gradient equal to 1/3 x. But here's the beauty. C is where the graph cuts the y-axis. But wherever the graph cuts the y-axis, the x value is 0. So technically they indirectly gave you the y-intercept, because notice that the x value is 0, 2. This is exactly where the graph cuts the y-axis at 2, once the x value is 0. So that would have been plus 2. Of course, you didn't have to do it like this. Once we put in the gradient, you could have replaced y with 2, x with 0, and transpose to get c. But you don't have to do that once you realize that the x value is 0, which means that the y value is the y-intercept. Alright, so that makes it D as in dog. Alright, we're going to take this down to question 49, and it says if f of x is equal to 2x squared minus 1, then f of minus 3 equal. What it means is that I'm going to be replacing my x value with minus 3. Now when it comes on to square and indices, it's always best that you use up your brackets. So in fact, I'm going to write this as 2 times -3 squared minus 1. Now, by rules of BIDMAS, don't forget it, we have to do indices before we multiply. Now, -3 squared really means -3 times -3. And of course, when you multiply two negatives, we get a positive 9. So it's going to be 2 times 9 minus 1. I must also multiply before I subtract. 2 nines is 18 minus 1, which is going to give me 17, making that option C as in cat. Option 50. Which of the following point lies on a line y equal to x minus 3? Now, this becomes what we call trial and error, which means that I'm going to put in the x values and see if I get the y values. Alright, so y equal to, the x value here for the first point is 2. 2 times 2 minus 3. 2 2s is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. And I'm supposed to get the corresponding y value. So that is it. When you put in the x value, you're supposed to get the y value. So that is out. We rule that out. What about 4, 1? 2 times 4 minus 3. 2 4s is 8. And 8 minus 3 is 5. So this is out as well. What about C? 0 minus 3. So y equal 2 times 0 minus 3. 2 times 0 is 0. Minus 3 is minus 3. So we put in 0, we get out minus 3 as y, which makes it option C as in cat. Once we get the answer, there's no need to move to the next one because we would have known the answer already. Alright, let's go again. The range of the function f is such that x maps on to minus x squared, or the domain here, is. Now, one thing that we should know, alright, let me just call it y, because f of x, you cannot say y equal minus x squared. This is a quadratic function. Now, what should we know about a quadratic function? It's a many to one function. Alright, now because I'm squaring values, when I square the values, it doesn't matter whether it's negative or positive. Once I square the same value, I'm going to get the same outcome. Now, what would be different or what would be interesting is that there's a minus sign here. So when I put in the first value, which is minus 2, I'm going to have y equal minus, which is right here. You put that back, but the minus 2 goes in a bracket, squared. Now, as you know, minus 2 squared is really minus 2 times minus 2, which is positive 4. So this first minus sign here will go back, although that is going to be whatever we get here is going to be positive. But you have to remember that there's a next minus sign out here. So it's going to be minus 4. Remember, we got 4 for the bracket, which is negative 2 times negative 2. Alright, what about minus 1? Y equal minus negative 1 squared. Remember, you have to do indices first. Now, negative 1 squared is negative 1 times negative 1, which is positive 1. And then the minus 1 goes back in front of it. So we're going to have minus 4. We're going to have minus 1. Of course, we can see that in B, C, and D. Alright. What about 0? If I put 0 in there, it's going to be 0, as you can see. That nothing changes there. So right away, I can rule out C. So it's between B and D. Now, this is what is interesting. Let's put 2 in there. If I put 2 in there, I'm going to have y equal minus, open bracket, 2 squared. But guess what? When we do indices first, 2 squared is 4, and the minus sign goes back, so it's minus 4. So it means that that positive 4 is out as well, which leaves the only possible option to be B, because negative 2 and positive 2 would give you the same value. Minus 1 and 1 would give you the same value, explaining the concept of a many to one kind of function. Right. We are at 52. Now, item 52 refers to the following diagram of a circle. And of course, this is circle theorem. Now, the angle at the center, and of course, by just looking at this, we would automatically know if O is the center. So we have the angle at the center here, and we have the angle at the circumference. Alright, the angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference standing on the same arc, as you can see right here. So we just simply need to take the angle at the circumference, multiply it by 2. 50 times 2 is going to give me 100 degrees, which makes it option C, as in cat. Sorry, not C, option D as in dog. 50 times 2 is 100. Alright, taking this down now. Under the translation, 2 minus 3, the image of 3 minus 5 is. Now, translation is the easiest form of transformation geometry, because with a translation, once you have the translating vector, we simply just add it. So we're going to write the coordinate as a vector 3 minus 5, and we'll add the translating vector 2 minus 3. Alright, and remember that all points can be written as position vectors, which is what I'm doing here, and all position vectors can be written as points. So 3 plus 2 is 5, negative 5 plus negative 3 is negative 8. As a vector, I can put it back as a coordinate as 5 minus 8, so it's going to be D as in dog. Alright, item 54 to 55 refers to the following diagrams of a pair of intersecting lines. Alright, AC and DE are straight lines intersecting at B. Angle DAB is 58 degrees. The measure of angle ABE, which is this angle right here, is. Now, this is nice, because guess what now? Angles at a point on a straight line adds up to 180 degrees. So here you have your straight line here. The angles are at this point right here. So it means that since it's add to 180, I simply need to go 180 minus 58. Now, what is 180 minus 58? It's going to give me 122 degrees, which just makes it option B. So you put that in. Now, why do I put in that information? Because I might come back to use it. So I'm going to go back up. Whichever following angles are equal. Alright, by just looking at this, vertically opposite angles are equal, right? So we know that DBC and ABE are the same. Let's go up and see if that is so. DBC, ABE. We don't have that. But we also have vertically opposite angles right here as well. I look basically looking for the Jamaica flag. Alright? So DBA or ABD and CBE are equal. Let me go up. So ABD and CBE. ABD and CBE. So it means that the answer here is D as in dog. Let's go back down here to make sure we verify that. Alright, whenever you see an X, we have what we call vertically opposite angles. ABD, CBE. ABD, ABD, CBE. Yeah, that's vertically opposite. Look for the Jamaica flag or you look for the X. Alright. Item 56 refers to the following diagram of an object, its image after a translation. Alright. So we know once you get the translation, they're naturally going to be asking you what is the translating vector. So we just need to choose one single point, A, and how do we get to A prime? So what do I do to 2 to get 4, and what do I do to 5 to get 6? So to get 4, you add 2 to 2, and to get 6, you add 1 to 5. So we know right away the translating vector is 2, 1. Alright, and see that's what they're asking us for. What is the translating vector? 2, 1. Alright, we're almost there, guys. Question 57. It says in triangle ABC, where angle A is x degrees and angle B is 2x degrees, what's the size of angle C? Now, in any triangle, all the angles add up to 180. So if this is x, this is 2x. Once I know these two angles and I want the third angle, I simply subtract it from 180. So it's going to be 180 minus. Now I want to put those in a bracket. So I have 2x plus x. Now 2x's plus 1x is going to give you 3x's. Alright, so it's 180 minus 3x's. Yeah, 57. A as in apple. Alright, taking it down. Question 58. Now, whenever you see two triangles and all the angles in the triangles are the same, it's talking about similar triangles. And here it goes. It refers to the following pair of similar triangles, which means that all sides are connected by a common ratio. So, AB corresponds to MN, which means that if I multiply MN by a common ratio, I get AB. That same common ratio is used to multiply the hypotenuse, which is MO, to get AC. That's how the concept works. So, right away, comparing two sides that I know, you must do that. Alright, the length of MO in centimeters. So you're going to ignore MO. Look at two sides that you know that corresponds, AB and MO. What do you multiply MN by? Sorry. AB and MN corresponds. So I need to find what I multiply MN by to get AB, which in this case is easy because I multiply 3 by 2 to get 6. So the common ratio is 2. So if I'm going from the smaller to the larger, I multiply. If I'm going from the larger to the smaller, I divide. So the hypotenuse of the bigger triangle, which is AC, corresponds to the hypotenuse MO that I want. And so the common ratio was found to be 2 by dividing 6 by 3. So I'm going to divide 7 by 2, which is 3.5 for MO. That's how you compare similar triangles, alright? Not so complicated. You just have to look for the corresponding angles and then you will find the corresponding sides. Alright, item 59 refers to the following diagram. From the diagram above, sine C. Now, where it comes on to ratio, if you can't remember, you can go so, ka, twa. Where sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cos, which is C, is adjacent over hypotenuse, so you have AH. And tan is opposite over adjacent, so you have OA. So when I want the sine of C, and notice that C is down here, the angle down here, I need to find the opposite side. The opposite side is here, and the hypotenuse is here. Now, this is what is interesting. I don't know what the hypotenuse is, so I can find it. Because whenever you have two sides of a right angle triangle, the third side can be found by Pythagoras' theorem. that says I'm going to call C the hypotenuse. I'm going to call this A and B. It says the hypotenuse square, which is C squared, is the sum of the squares of the other two sides. So 12 squared plus 5 squared. 12 squared is 144. 5 squared is 25. So that's 169. C squared is 169. I don't want C squared, I want C. So the opposite of square is square root. So C is equal to 13. So I know that this side is 13. Alright? So opposite, which is 5, sine, so sine C is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. Opposite is 5 over 13. And here's what, I doubt I needed to work out that because I think almost all the sides had 13. It couldn't be 12 because the hypotenuse is the longest side. So I never needed to work out the length of the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the longer side. And the other two sides are 5 and 12. The only other number is 13. So working it out was really a waste of time in this case. Alright. So the option is 5 over 12. 5 over 13, which makes that option A, as in apple. Alright. But you get the logics of what I'm saying. If you have the other two sides and the hypotenuse is the longest side, and the only other value larger than 5 and 12 is 13, it means that the hypotenuse must naturally be 13, right? So I never needed to work that out. Alright, item 30 refers to the following diagram, which shows a ladder 5 meters long, leaning against a wall. The foot of the ladder is 3 meters away. So what you need to do is to put on all important information. That's 5 meters. It's also good to know certain Pythagorean triads. It says, how far up the wall does the ladder reach? Which is this side. Over here. Now, in Pythagoras theorem, there are certain Pythagorean triads that always go together. You don't need to work them out. You know, the 3, 4, 5 triangle. There's a 6, 8, 10 triangle. There's a 12, 5, 13 triangle. Alright, so if you know these Pythagorean triads, then of course I would just be selecting the answer. But let's say we don't know them. From Pythagoras theorem that we just know, the hypotenuse square, which is 5 in this case, 5 squared, is equal to the other two, sum of the other two sides squared, which is 3 squared plus x squared. Now 5 squared is 25, so we have 25 equal 9 plus x squared. And guess what? The 9 is positive, you want x, you're going to carry over the 9. 25 minus 9 equal to x squared. 25 minus 9 is 16. And I want x, so we square root. Alright? Square root means which number you multiply by itself to get 16. So x turns out to be 4. And that's the end of question 16. Please look out for my other paper 2 questions that I have on my channel.